I couldn't figure out how to do.
All right, we're good. All right. So new this year to the seminar series, we're doing some highlights of various fish health section committees. There's an immense amount of great work that's going on, and this is a perfect opportunity for them to highlight what they're up to and the contributions of the section to all of you, and perhaps offer ways for you to get involved. Speaking today is the chair of the Nominating and Balloting Committee, Amber Johnston. She's a PhD student at the University of Maine, studying viral pathogens affecting Atlantic salmon. And if you want to hear more about her work, you can come back next month and she'll be giving the research talk. But for now, let's hear about the Nominating and Balloting Committee.
Yeah, it sounds good. Thank you for the introduction. Preface, I'm battling what I think is a sinus infection right now, so I'm sorry for any sniffling, hacking, or weird vocal things that happen in the next 10 minutes. But yeah, I just have a couple of slides on the Nominating and Balloting Committee, what we do, how the committee is structured, and a couple of positives about getting involved and how to do that. Oh, maybe. Okay, there we go. So what is the Nominating and Balloting Committee to do? It's pretty self-explanatory, but we're essentially responsible for soliciting nominations and executing all of the Fish Health Section elections. This includes our annual election and any special elections that may come up with bylaws amendments or any midterm committee vacancies. So this process begins by collecting nominations. And I'm going to pause on this one a little bit because this is one place where section involvement is very important. Without nominations or nominees, we can't have an election. And I can also kind of say, having watched this process over the last 2 or 3 years, this is an area where it'd be really wonderful to see a little bit more involvement. So if you know someone interested in a position, or you have someone in mind for any sort of roles, or if you're interested in any of these positions, please email any of the Nominating and Balloting Committee when it comes time to do the next election. I'm not going to explicitly encourage peer pressure, but in this context, I think it's pretty harmless. So I'm also not going to discourage peer pressure. So after we get our nominees, we contact them, make sure that they're okay with running for the position. From there, we verify membership, make sure that they can send us their bio sketches in an effort to give the Fish Health Section members that are voting a little bit of background on the people they're voting for. Then we create the election survey, and from there we collect all of the votes. So if you've missed any of the emails over the last 3 weeks, I apologize for how many there have probably been, but you probably know that we're at this step right now. So we're currently collecting votes for the 2025 Fish Health Section elections. In terms of committee structure, the Nominating and Balloting Committee has 4 positions. One is held by the past president, so it changes as the presidency changes, and the other 3 are held by elected members. So serving on the Nominating and Balloting Committee, or NBC, is a 3-year term where you start as the first-year member, move into the second-year spot, and ultimately serve as the committee chair in your 3rd year on the committee. So this committee is a really awesome one to join if you don't think you have time immediately, but anticipate having a bit more of an open schedule in the coming years, because most of the responsibilities definitely come in these last 2 years. So why you should consider running for the Nominating and Balloting Committee, just in general. It's a really awesome role for students and early career professionals. I got nominated and elected for this when I was a master's student, and it was really great for me to kind of get involved with the section, see a little bit how things work, and also kind of put some faces to names as you're going through the nominees, sending out emails, looking at the membership list. It really helps you get to know the section in and outs as well as the members in it. So when you run into people at meetings or these seminars, it's like, oh, I know that name. I've emailed that person a time or two. Next, like I said on the last slide, if you really don't have the time to commit to this now, consider if you will later. For example, if you're like taking your comps or something or prepping for your comps and the thought of another responsibility makes you want to scream, or in any other context, if you go ahead and volunteer yourself for these things and put yourself up for election, most of the responsibilities won't come for another 2 or so years. So just think about it. You have to have a little bit of foresight into what things might look like for you, but it's definitely something to consider, even if you're too busy right now. And lastly, and one of the most rewarding parts of being on the nominating and balloting committee is that section elections are a very critical process for the fish health section. Without the elections, we don't really have any voice of like what these leadership positions and who is filling them and what they look like. So it's really important to play a role in that. And it can be really rewarding when you look at the end of it and see how many votes you collected. And it's just a nice thing to kind of help out the section. So if I've swayed you to want to run and be nominated for the nominating and balloting committee next year, you might be wondering how you can do that. First, if you have any questions, you can reach out to the committee chair. I'm only the committee chair for about 2 more weeks, and then I kind of fall off of it. But Allison Johnston is our second-year member, and she'll be the committee chair this coming month at this point. So reach out to either of us if you have any questions about what the committee does, again, if this didn't really answer it, or you just want to get more information. You can also, when it comes time for elections, nominate yourself or ask someone to nominate you. We do accept self-nominations for any of the positions, but I know all people might not be comfortable doing that. So if you're not, just have someone else nominate you and just show interest in it. And lastly, a good way when you're kind of putting yourself up for election for these kinds of positions, you can also engage with the section at meetings, virtual seminars, or online via Facebook, LinkedIn, any of those things. That way, when it comes time to voting and people are seeing your name on the ballot, they can kind of connect the dots. Like, oh, I saw so-and-so at a meeting, or I saw them present last year. So just something to kind of help you get a little bit of an edge when it comes to getting involved on these elected committees. All right, last but not least, I'd be remiss not to mention this because the last day to vote in the AFS Fish Health Section elections is tomorrow. We have had a couple ballots go to spam folders. We've had a couple people report that they are not getting ballots. So if you fall into any of these categories, first check your spam folder, make sure it's not there. Second, if you have not gotten a ballot in your spam folder or your regular one, go ahead and email me and CC our Fish Health Section president, Dr. Hallett, and we can send you a link to vote. So, and also I just want to end this by thanking all of the committee members that are on this with me. I had them on the first slide, but Allison Johnson, who's the incoming committee chair, Nisha Shrestha, who will be the committee chair in 2 years, and Wade Cavender, who's serving on the committee as past president. So if you haven't gotten a ballot, you can just PM me on here or email me here, and we'll be able to get you a link to vote. So just want to get that last push of votes in before everything's finalized tomorrow.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Amber.
Yeah.
Great overview, great committee. Encourage everybody to get involved either by nominating yourself for this committee or for another one. Makes the committee's job a lot easier. We don't have time for questions, Amber, but if people are curious to know more, feel free to drop them into the chat or reach out to Amber and she can follow up.
Thank you. Sounds good.